everybody, and welcome back to Two Dudes That Game. We've been gone for a while. It's been a little bit since Two Dudes That Game have put out a podcast. James, you were gone for some good reasons for about a month. I was gone for a little bit for some personal things. It's just been going back and forth, back and forth.
It's been a while since two dudes have gamed, let alone two dudes that game.
I didn't even. I just turned on Call of Duty. The new launch, Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer, multiplayer.
I would like the record to state that right now I am better than you.
Yeah, I am terrible. I don't even know. I was shooting outside of maps. I didn't know which way to go.
And you've played longer than me too, kind of actually.
I played on the maps that were in the beta. Like I did better than you on because I knew the maps already, and I played the beta, and you hadn't. But all the new stuff, I don't know. And then I'm just trying to learn how to do stuff because this is a new game here. Exactly. And we're going to kind of get into that today of our first impressions. I checked today. I've got about 10 hours in the last 2 days. I have not played the campaign at all, and I have not played co-op at all. I think we need to jump into co-op and see what that feels like. I'm hoping it's better than the co-op in the last games, which I did not like at all. That like infinite amount of just juggernauts and things that were coming after you.
It was
and
annoying because they never.
Stuff.
You can't clear it. You can't clear an area. No. They just keep respawning and so it would be nice if they made it. And
I like the fact I like that co-op because it was on the Warzone maps and it was fun to do it there. But yeah, just those endless waves. It made me feel like we were playing Gears of War, but with like the infinity wave going on. It's like be that game to where you're just trying to get levels on levels, or be a objective game, and they didn't decide what they wanted to be.
No,
in that co-op. So we're gonna get into just first impressions here, and James, since you're the better player as of right now, let's go ahead and feel get what you feel how this game is going, and do you like the direction? Do you think what we have in the multiplayer is going to transition over to Warzone well? Do you think they need to make some changes? Where are you at on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the second? I don't know what this is, 2022 they're calling, because we've already had a Modern Warfare 2. I'm really getting confused with the names. Like, stop redoing the names. Like, can you just give me a new name? Because I am getting confused overall of like which one are we talking about now?
Basically, they're retconning. Everyone needs to forget about the old Modern Warfares. They're vaulted.
You can't, because we go back and play them because they're better.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. But story-wise, when it comes to the campaign, I think you just need to go by. As far as, okay, what's the first question? What I think will translate to Warzone?
No, the first question is like, how do you feel? Like, what are your feelings of this game?
I really do like it. Now, we can get into, there's bugs and the UI and all this other stuff. But if we're talking strictly the gameplay mechanics, the shooting mechanics are amazing. Infinity Ward especially, and I think Treyarch to a point, they usually nail that side of it anyways. So it's nice to see that they didn't take a step back on that. I don't know if anything's like revolutionary or it got better, but it feels amazing. It's kind of like going back and playing a Halo game. Like the gunplay feels great. The movement, they slowed it down a lot from Call of Duty, especially Warzone. I like that because I think it adds, it's not as slow as like a Tarkov or a PUBG where everything's tactical, but it implements a little bit of tactical play with being quick at the same time. It is interesting watching the people that are the diehard sweats, because obviously bunny hopping is extremely back big time, but the funny thing is that the people trying to bunny hop around, they are jumping around and I'm missing my shots, but they're so bad at doing it that I still eventually end up killing them.
So you definitely have like I agree with you. I agree with you to a point. I don't think the gunplay has gotten that much better. No,
I just mean it's solid.
It's okay.
I don't think anything jumped forward and it became better, but I think it's if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of situation.
Well, it was broke, so they needed to fix it.
Well, you know what I mean. As far as their basic gunplay mechanics.
So the thing I don't like about the current mechanics is so to make the game more accessible, and I honestly believe this was the reason they made this choice. So from someone that wants like, I can go play other games to get the diehard feel. Like I understand that. And this is at the end of the day, I'm not delusional that this is an arcade shooter. Like that's what it's supposed to be. This isn't your military sim. Go play Arma if you want that. This isn't your survival game that, I believe when DMZ comes in, it might have that survival aspect to it. We'll see when that gets there, but it's not that. I have other games. If I want what I think is the best gunplay, I'll go play PUBG. Like if I want the feels and stuff there. The one thing I don't like personally, I don't like the switch from real recoiling guns to where you have a lot of recoil patterns you have to learn to visual recoil. Because right now it is just, in my opinion, visual recoil you have on the game. And from playing the beta, it's not as bad as it was. Like the visual recoil in the beta was like, oh my God, I can't see, like this blur is insane. They toned that down. They toned down the muzzle flash that you get on the gun so you can actually see through. They just took the transparency down or up, made it more transparent so you can see through the muzzle flash a little bit easier. So they did make those changes, but it is all visual recoil. Like you put on a couple attachments to drop recoil. Like I have a muzzle brake on and a forward grip, and I have no recoil. Like I'm beaming. But I do have a lot of visual recoil. So there's some people that makes them jerk if they are not ready for it. So I personally don't like that change. I'd rather have to learn the patterns of recoil. Like that's fun to me, but I can find that in other games such as Escape from Tarkov, PUBG, a lot of those. If I really want that type of gunplay, and to make this game accessible, you kind of have to go to that. Like that turns people off when they can't figure out the recoil of the guns, especially in like AKs and stuff that have a lot of recoil. Like those patterns sometimes are bouncing everywhere. Like go play Tarkov and shoot an AK and you can't hit anything outside of 30 meters anyway, like without some kind of attachment on it to help it. So that's my gripe on the gunplay. But again, that's a personal thing. That doesn't hurt the game. I think the game is fine there for what it's supposed to be. That's just, being it almost felt more like, it feels more like Black Ops. Are you getting that feel? Like I'm getting more of a Black Ops feel.
A little bit of old school Black Ops.
Yeah, the movement,
which isn't
we got to get into.
Bad. I mean, obviously the two Treyarch and Infinity Ward, doing the back and forth that they did every other year for a while before Sledgehammer got involved, they always kind of nailed it. They had different feels, but they nailed it. So I'm all for combining the best of kind of both companies, and hopefully that's kind of what we're getting here. Maybe Warzone helped integrate that with Raven being involved and working with both companies. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. I'm not sure
Raven helped anything for Call of Duty over these years. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go like let me rephrase that before we get a bunch of hate there. Raven gave us Warzone. Like let's face it. Like they gave us all of those different things there. They also destroyed Warzone, but I don't think that was the developer's decision. I think there was a lot of management decisions to integrate these games that destroyed it. I'm not going to put that on the devs. I'm going to put that on the upper management that decided, let's figure out how to sell skins across every platform that we could possibly have. So I'm not putting that on the devs. I'm just saying, unfortunately, that's going to go down as a miss for Raven in history.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll just have to see how it plays out. I'm excited to see where Warzone goes into. There are some simple things that I don't like. I don't like how somebody's already trying to figure out, is there slide canceling? No, but there's a sprint melee cancel, which is just weird. Like if we're finding ways, and I know that they can't test everything in the game, but I hope that they find a way. If the intention of this game is to slow it down a little bit so people can't slide around the corner and do what we're doing towards the end of the last year of Warzone, where the speed And let's just be honest, the speed is in Warzone is way faster than anyone ever intended it developed.
Well, I mean, I think
we
the
find
speed in Vanguard. So let's compare
Yeah.
apples to apples. Like Warzone is a little bit different of a beast there, but it is that engine. But
yeah,
the Vanguard speed got out of hand. It
Yeah.
really did get out of hand, especially with the time to kills, and you're sliding around corners, and people were really using just general desync and latency to their advantage.
yeah,
All over that map with how fast it was.
and it's not necessary. It's hard. It's not like, I mean, I'm not going to blame the player for learning how to play to the advantage of desyncing and
No,
stuff
they weren't
like that.
cheating. They weren't
They're
cheating.
not
It's just
cheating.
part of the
They
game.
just learn how to play it. But I hope those kind of things are handled. If that's not how the game and the developers mean for it, the pace of play to be, then I hope they're on top of it from the beginning, especially as Warzone launches. And like I said, I'm optimistic so far. I know, and maybe you want to jump into it as far as the UI and the bugs, and there's still no ranking system, and there's still this, that, and the other. But the basics, I'm having fun with the game. The campaign, I'm about 3/4 of the way through. I'm playing it. I actually normally play the campaigns on easy, and then I'll go back through and play them harder when I know what's going on. This time I was like, you know what? I'm going to play it on the hardest level. It is hard. I mean, I die quite a bit, but I'm not getting aggravated when I'm dying, because every time I die, the way that they presented this AI, and I think you'll see when you play the campaign, Ender, they've really bragged about this AI. When you die, if you just sit back and think about why you died, it's very easy to fix it and progress. The only thing I don't like when you're playing on the hardest level, there are moments that are, I'll call them jump scare moments when it comes to Call of Duty. They don't scare you, but the same concept, like something jumping around. Like you have to go through this hallway and you don't know there's someone around the corner, and then they one-tap you with a shotgun. Like, how are you? I mean, am I supposed to just jump around every corner and shoot every corner?
But I mean,
like,
but I think there you actually start looking into them trying to add some tactical play to that. So if you're walking down a hallway, I could throw a fat flashbang down that hallway.
Yes.
And tell where somebody's at. Like if you step back and say, okay, I rushed this hallway, I wasn't able to react to the guy with a shotgun. Well, I probably should have thrown a flashbang. Probably should have thought.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
there's probably someone at the end of this hallway.
Yeah, as soon as you die and you see why you died, it's usually really easy to, in retrospect, like be like, okay, let me do this tactic. So I agree with you there, and it doesn't really hold you up. I mean, we're talking a minute or two resetting right to that point.
I think if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, you should die. Like that should be.
I die. I mean, I'm not that great, so I die.
But I think a lot of people will go onto the hardest difficulty and want to run through. they want to run through or speed through something. Like that's what they have the different levels for. Like if you just want to enjoy the story, and
play it on
run
easy.
Through
You'll
it,
survive.
Play it on easy. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to start the campaign on just regular, and I'm probably gonna record it and throw it up on our page as just like a walkthrough of one of the new games. I think that could be a cool little segment on YouTube for us. I have that's why I didn't get right into the campaign. I know Call of Duty is gonna rock the campaign. They always do. It's not God of War. It's not anything that's going to be this mind-blowing, amazing thing, Elden Ring-ish thing. So yeah, you're not going to get 10 out of 10s. It's not going to be this revolutionary thing, but it's going
your
to
summer
be
blockbuster video game movie.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic movie that I get to play. And that to me is what they're designing. They're designing a 10-hour long, 11-hour long movie for me to actually get to play, because that's really what they are. I mean, they're hiring actors, like legitimate actors, to do the voiceovers and utilizing their modeling in these. So it's a movie I can play, and I love that. I don't need everything to be God of War. I don't need everything to be
the actor playing
Blockbuster.
Commander Shepard. The actor playing Shepard this time, I know that the old one passed, but this guy he's amazing. Like, he's killing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like for me, I never had a question in their campaign, but I do know the campaign's only going to keep me interested for about 10 to 11 hours when I complete it, and I'll probably never go back and play it again unless I get really bored. So I jumped right into multiplayer. The first thing I noticed, and I am a traditional controller Call of Duty player. I only play with controller. I hated playing with mouse and keyboard on Call of Duty for one very particular reason. I could not slide cancel on keyboard and mouse. I have like arthritis in my fingers to a certain degree where I can't reach the keys well enough to do a slide cancel and do it fast enough. I've never been able to do slide canceling, so I've always played on a controller with paddles, with scuff controllers. Yeah, because
that makes it very
paddle.
easy.
It makes it super easy. And that's the only way I could do it with how damaged my hands are from I've broken every finger multiple times. So that's the only way I could really end up doing it. This game, with the pace and how slow the movement feels, and it's not slow, but when you walk into a Call of Duty game from playing Vanguard and playing even Modern Warfare 1, the first Modern Warfare is super slow and there's no slide canceling. So I'm like, let me try this with keyboard and mouse and take the advantage of my aiming and my snapping with a mouse. Can I actually play this here? I found that I play better on keyboard and mouse than controller in this game, just because of the speed being slowed down. So that was my first reaction to it. Now, again, we talked about gunplay. I liked it. I don't know if removing slide canceling is that big of a deal to me. I thought it was going to be, but after like 20, 30 minutes of like moving around, I'm like, I don't really need this. Like, no one else is doing it. No one else is getting across the map super fast that I can't get there. And even if I try to get across the map so fast, people are playing slower anyway. So now I have to, like, is someone going to be mounted around that corner? Like, that's a lot of gameplay that I've been running into, is a lot of guys mounting up on corners, or if they're playing together as a team, holding down an area. I'm okay with that. Like, I think that's good movement forward for Call of Duty. Now, I also don't think that the TTKs are balanced yet. And the reason being I don't think they're balanced yet is we're all still leveling weapons. So you've got guys that you get into some of these matches that have their weapons maxed out with armor piercing bullets, and you can go look at J God's last video. I was gonna say,
or they just watch J God's video and they're loading up his guns and
so like these guys that have already done it,
everyone.
And yeah, there's a 2-shot pistol. I got in a game where everybody was running the 2-shot pistol. It was so frustrating. Like, there was nothing I could do, but I knew that frustration was not my play. It was just, I'm only ranked like 9 or 10. I don't have them open to be able to compete with that. So, okay, take your loss, move on. That's the whole point of multiplayer. Sometimes you have good lobbies, sometimes you don't. But I have found that the base M4, and you found the base ERB, the guns that you get in the beginning, I like how they had some attachments already unlocked.
Yeah.
Like, you could already put attachments on. You weren't starting with a base weapon. You could do some attachments on there so you don't feel like you're just starting with this gun that has no power whatsoever, or crazy recoil that you can't handle, and it's putting you way behind. You had some attachments pre-opened. So I thought that was a really good call by them. And I didn't think that was going to stay. I thought that was just a beta feature to get people like deeper into the gunsmithing, but they kept it that way. So I was really happy with that. What I wasn't happy with is the UI. We got to get into this UI. It is the worst Call of Duty UI ever. I have had to Google more things on how to get to a spot. Like, first first giant pet peeve. Why is quick play not underneath the multiplayer menu? Why?
Because you got to get to it first. It's in quick play.
But it's featured, and then you go to multiplayer, and you're like, I went to multiplayer as a normal Call of Duty thing. You would go to the multiplayer tab, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, do we not have like deathmatch anymore? Do we not, like, where did all this stuff go? And then I'm like, oh, here's the quick play and featured. And then I had to hit the filter, and like, okay, now I can filter out my game mode. So there's only a quick play. There's no like team deathmatch. I just want to do this or that, where I can just choose what I want to play. I always have to go into the filter and filter stuff out. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I don't understand why it's not under the multiplayer menu.
It makes me laugh a little bit. You know, listen, I'm all up. I'm Xbox fanboy with the best of them. You make fun of me for it all the time. And with Microsoft and the process of acquiring Activision, I was like, what did they do? Let one of the Microsoft UI guys come in and design it?
Microsoft UI. This is a horrible UI.
I was like, that's not
and
the
bugs
I
are
was
insane.
hoping for.
Why do I have to restart my game every time to play the campaign?
Every time. If I want to play the campaign, as soon as I load it, it says must restart.
Is that just a PC problem?
Yeah,
I'm wondering if it's just a PC problem.
I think it's a PC thing.
All right, so if you're not playing on PC, you haven't experienced it.
Ender, are you playing? Where are you playing the game?
PC.
No, what platform did you buy it off of? I bought Steam.
I bought it through Blizzard.
Okay.
Because I already had.
I'm just curious if it was across the board or it was a Steam issue.
No, it's that I have it off of Blizzard and it does that every single time. It crashes all the time. Again, another PC issue, I think. But
I was happy to get off
PC
of Blizzard because that was my only game.
That's PC game problems in general, though. Like crashing is a PC problem, and I get that, and so I can live with that issue. I also, somebody out there that's smarter than me, which is a lot of you listening, please explain to me why I have to optimize my shaders every fucking time I load the game. Why? Why do I have to optimize my shaders every fucking time? Like I start the game and I'm like, okay, how long is this shader optimization gonna take? Because it's not consistent. It's not like one time it takes 3 seconds and the next time it takes 4 hours. Like,
listen, it's just like loading into a Tarkov game. Sometimes your queue times are long.
No, I don't. Tarkov has no excuse because of all the other games that have shorter load times. But again, why do I have to do this? Someone out there, please explain this to me. Put it in the comments. Let me understand, because I'm
someone's just going to say it's your PC's problem.
That's fine. And if that's the case, that's fine. I know it's not my PC problem because I know every one of you out there playing on PC has the same issue. I've talked to people before, and I am too old.
Get a 4090, kid. Get good.
I am too old to go out there and research this on my own. So someone please post in the comments why this is.
If you go to the web search bar, sir, and you type in www.google.com, it'll bring up a search bar for you.
You know what? Thank you.
You're the one dropping the I'm too old to search it.
Dude, I go on my Google machine and I try to find things. I asked Jeeves the other day. He didn't know.
You gotta ask the paperclip.
Where's Clippy?
Where's Clippy?
Clippy can help me. Oh my God. No one's going to know what the fuck we're talking about here with Clippy.
Clippy was amazing.
Damn. Clippy's still amazing.
Clippy was the coolest thing in school when I was in school just learning computer because it was like a distraction from the class.
Okay. How badass would it be
if I could play as Clippy in Call of Duty? That would be amazing.
If Fortnite brought a Clippy into it.
That would be so good.
You could play as Clippy in Fortnite.
We need to write that as to Phil Spencer.
We have to ask for that skin to happen.
Fortnite would do it in a second.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Every old person like us would be buying that in a second.
Or in Call of Duty, like all of your hints, it's a Clippy like icon next to the hint to show you how to do things. Like please, Microsoft, make that happen. Please add Clippy into some game that gives me hints. If I hit a hint bar, I want Clippy to pop up. All right, so with all that being said, the real game everybody's waiting for. I'm gonna go ahead and eat my ego right at this point, and acknowledge the fact that no one is actually waiting for Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. I am a competitive game player. I am super happy that this is out there. I'm glad the Call of Duty League, it seems like the guys for competitive are liking it. So I think we're gonna have a really good season. Like last year, they hated the game, so the season wasn't that great.
Was it Scum?
Scum last year
is the final season.
So big news from Scump, and if you have the chance, go to Optic Gaming's YouTube channel. They actually have a video that they made, which was really cool video for Scump. This is his last year. He's going to call it. He's retiring after this, which honestly, he could have retired anytime within the last 4 years. He's still the GOAT. Granted, I've always been a Crim6 fan just because he's more like me with a giant ego attitude. So like me and Crim6, Crim6 does not pull punches about telling you what he feels at any given time. And I love that from him. And I really wish those two could have worked out their differences and been on the same team for a long time. Because back in the day when you had Crim6, Nade Shot, because you got to remember, like, that was the team. That's what I grew up on. It was, and I'm a lot older than these guys, so it's kind of sad. But I've been it's like sports in general. I'm older than everybody that plays now. That hurts me in general. Like, my dad
You
and I
used to
were
look
talking
up to
about,
these athletes.
dude. My dad and I were talking about that, and I'm like, we were watching the World Series game, and I'm like, man, these kids, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, they are fucking kids to me. Like these guys are like 10, 15 years younger than me, some of them. So anyway, back in the day with Nade Shot, Crim6, Formal, and Scump all on the same team, like that's what I watched. That's what got me into gaming. We were out there doing game battles. Like, I don't even know if you remember game battles. Like, I did a ton of game battles back in the day, playing in when the Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out. We were doing game battles all the time. So anyway, Scum's last year. I think they're liking the game. I think they're learning how to do it. But the one downside to competitive play, though, is even though they removed slide canceling, they did not remove snaking. So you still have the snaking problem. So there's going to be the gentleman's agreement that they're going to have to do on not snaking. If you don't know what snaking is, it's basically where you slide into a rock or a ledge or something that pops your head up and down. So you're sliding into it, and you head glitch it. You can't see your head, but you can shoot them. It's harder to do than like slide canceling and all of that to actually do it right. But if you can do it, man, you can hold down a corner and no one's going to hit you because they can't see you. You're literally shooting from behind it because you're moving so fast on your screen. It's registering that your gun can shoot, but on their screen, they don't see it. Bullets are just flying out of this wall. So that's a big problem. Advanced Warfare actually had it the worst. Like, that's when snaking was really bad. And no one really knew about it until that game. And they have fixed a little bit of the bullets not coming out of your head. So the bullets actually come out of the barrels. That's kind of cool. And most people may not notice that unless you play for a lot, but your bullet box is actually your head when you aim down sight. And not the barrel of the gun. So you can actually get caught where you're trying to shoot around a corner and actually hit the wall and not come right out of the top of your reticle. So that's kind of cool to have that into the game, because that hasn't been there in a while. Like, if your reticle dot's on it, your bullet's going to hit it. Now you kind of have to make sure the barrel's clear in order to do that. My last feature, and I don't know if you noticed this feature that I'm so glad that they put in, you no longer get stuck by walls when prone.
Oh, I hated that.
You could do the 360 now and it will just push you out of the wall. Thank you for adding that in, because that is so annoying to get prone blocked. So annoying. There's no point. Like, what person laying on the ground is going to turn and be like, thunk, oh, I can't move. Thunk, I'm not going to move my legs.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to shift out and do that. So glad that prone blocking is gone. Anything else from the multiplayer you want to bring? I like the maps. Ooh, we can get into the maps because we actually had a good conversation about the maps. So what do you feel about the maps, James?
I like the maps. I think they're fun. I think they're unique. It drives me nuts looking on Twitter and you hear everyone freaking out about, I mean, right now, the highway map. The highway map is the worst map in Call of Duty history. And to that I say, not every map should be 3-lane map. The best players play 3-lane maps because that's what they know. They memorize them. You can essentially memorize the map knowing that it's 3-lane without knowing all the ins and outs of the map, because you just know how the map is set up.
Yeah, all you got to figure out is the couple of cross-throughs.
Yeah, when you introduce something like the highway map, I would like people to remember that sometimes maps are made for specific game modes. I
I
played
think this one was specifically
hard
made
point.
for Prisoner Escape.
Prisoner Escape would be a great one. And when you get into competitive play, you mentioned this to me the other day, that like if the highway map is not good for team deathmatch, they're not going to use the highway map in the Call of Duty League for team deathmatch. No. They'll use it for possibly the game mode it was intended for, or they won't use it. Now, I do think that you need maps that just look cool because they're supposed to appeal to a wide range of audience. And you know who's good at the maps that suck? Bad players.
Yeah.
Bad players do better on non-traditional, non-3-lane maps because the people like us that play it all the time, we don't have an immediate advantage. Now, 8 months from now, the better player is going to figure out the little spawn point and they're going to figure out the corner to hide in and they're going to kill everyone. But to start, I mean, just relax. Some of them are just supposed to be cool. That's it.
So I think the two things that they can do to make multiplayer, I think give multiplayer a chance again, because it's just getting outshadowed by the survival games that are coming through. So your looter shooter survivals that are coming in are taking over, and your battle royales. Like those are the big games right now that are taking over, and your multiplayers aren't. Just look at how much Halo tanked. I mean, that was Halo is a great example of a game being built for competitive that did not translate over to the everyday player. If you want a great competitive game, play Halo Infinite. It's a phenomenal competitive game because they're all 3-lane maps. Every single one of them is a 3-lane map with stuff in the middle. It's just different stuff. They took the same box design and reskinned it over and over again, made it larger, made it smaller. That's what they did. And if you want to play another one, go play Counter-Strike. Like that they've been playing the same map in Counter-Strike for 10 years. They'll never not play that map because it's designed for competitive play, and that's what the game's for. Look at Valorant. Same map designs over and over and over again. But for Call of Duty, I think the way they fix this, in my opinion, is by adding their ranked mode. So if you have a ranked play mode, you can do two things in that mode differently. One, limit the maps to the 3-lane maps, the ones that are designed around competitive play. So let the pros choose. Do it based off of COD rules. That's what they had in the last one. It wasn't ranked, but you played the COD rules. I like that. I think you use whatever is in the Call of Duty League. You bring those rules in here. Two, I think they need to stop using squad-based spawns in ranked play and go back to the real spawn loop systems that they should be using, because this game has a serious problem with squad spawns. And the reason why I hate squad spawns is if you're a good player, you don't even have to be a great player. If you're a good player, squad-based spawns screw you over because you use your mini-map as a good player. Bad players do not use their mini-map at all. But what happens is you'll be playing, let's say you have a UAV up, because now I have a problem with that in this game. Gunshots don't show on the minimap. If you didn't know that, they took that out. So only UAVs actually show the location of enemies on the minimap now.
I like it.
I don't like it.
I think it's dumb that you don't like it.
No, why?
Okay.
It's a mechanic of the game. Like I have to get
I know that it's an arcade shooter, so I'm not going to sit here and argue realism or not. But like, if I have a map, just because someone popped a gun, they shouldn't show up on the map.
But here's the thing.
Or at least make it that you have to have a silencer on it.
It's a blip. You used to be able to put silencers on and you didn't show up. That's what silencers were for. Now you had to take that advantage you got from not showing up on the minimap based off of the disadvantages of the silencer, which was normally
range.
Some kind of range issue. You got more, but technically silencers give you more bullet velocity. So whatever, it's, again, it's an arcade shooter. The reason why I don't like it right now is because I have to get used to it. And the other issue with that is once I get used to it, okay, I'm not going to be doing that. But the mini map was very powerful in that way if you were a good player, because if you're watching your mini map, you'd see the blip and you would have no information. Now, this is why squad-based spawns suck. So let's say you have a UAV up in this current game. We'll go with the current way it works. You are moving in on a player that is extended himself over halfway across the map. So that's kind of your line, the halfway point. If you get across the map at the halfway point, more of your players across the halfway point. In standard spawns, the spawns flip now. So your guys spawn that side and you switch sides. That was a big thing in Call of Duty and any shooter, just like Halo, is getting the better spawn side. If you started on the bad spawn side, you wanted to flip it. Like that's something you would need to do. Squad-based spawns, you don't do that. So let's say you have one player. There's one guy moving. You're tracking him on your minimap with the UAV up. And now you're going to make a move on him. So your minimap goes through, because it's a ping system. And then it goes to ping again. You make the move. 3 guys are there now. So you played the game perfectly. You use your minimap in a perfect way. You should get that kill on the guy, but it randomly spawns 2 more guys on top of him and you're dead. Like, that is the worst thing about squad-based spawns. It should not happen that way. You should have to reset somewhere else. Now, I do understand spawn camping. That sucks. No one wants spawn camps. No one wants all those things. But I should be able, as a better player and in competitive play, and I would say only do this in the competitive ranked mode, do squad spawns in your arcade mode for people to have fun and do that to break out and stuff like that. But on the other side, have your standard 6-point rotation spawns where you know where they're going to be. So you know, if I overextend, we're going to flip. I can call it out to my team. I could do all those stuff. And if I make a move on a guy that should be one-on-one, it'll always be one-on-one. If I use my minimap right and I read it. Right now, the minimap is pointless because I have no idea how many people are going to spawn on top of that guy at any given time. So they've completely made the minimap useless, in my opinion, with squad-based spawning.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I like it. But
I don't think you take that out of your general everyday arcade play because it keeps you from getting spawn trapped. And I'm okay with that if I'm just playing casual and it happens, okay, whatever, that's fine. But when I'm really trying to push and I want to play competitive, like, go back to how competitive is supposed to be. Or just, I guess we just always play search and destroy and we don't have to worry about it. Like, that's the only other option is you only play game modes that require 0 respawn. But some of your greatest moments in competitive play are in respawn game modes. There's 2 different types of play. You have search and destroy, which will always be a staple of Call of Duty. It'll always be a thing. That strategy is incredibly different than a respawn game strategy. So you have to have 2 different strategies. And if you watch Call of Duty or a Call of Duty League or the Halo League or any of those things, you'll see them talking about that. Like, what's our respawn strategy? How do we move? Where do we spawn? Their call outs are normally where they died at. So you know where they're going to respawn, who's going to double up. But now you talk to any of the players, they have no clue. It is random. It just picks random people to drop you on. So you have no idea what's going to happen. Moving on. The second question is, do you think all of these changes translates to Warzone well?
I hope so. But I can already hear there's going to be a loud crowd of people complaining about slide canceling because I'm with you. I don't think everyone that plays Warzone, because the numbers are still very high right now in Warzone Caldera. And
well,
Rebirth.
Tim's not even streaming. Tim the Tatman's not even streaming MW2. He already said he wasn't going to.
He said he wasn't going to stream as long as it had skill-based matchmaking. So before we go anywhere else, let's talk about skill-based matchmaking for a second. Okay,
it's stupid. Get rid of it.
I think it's dumb, and I think you should get rid of it. And I also think, I am the average player. I am the person that everyone says that if they got rid of skill-based matchmaking, I'm going to have a horrible time.
No, you're going to have a better time.
I think that even the worst player has a better time. Are you going to play some games where a guy comes in there and just owns the lobby? You know, Scump ends up in your casual lobby? Yes. But own
the lobby.
But more times than not, you're going to end up with more lobbies. If you play 10 games, I bet you 6 of your lobbies, you're going to be average or better than the people you're playing against. Even as a bad player.
Skill-based matchmaking only hurts the good player. And what I mean by that is It does. In the Call of Duty League, your average KD in a match in the Call of Duty League in a respawn game is like 0.5 to 1.5. They die a ton in that game because they're the best players in the world. These are the best guys in the world. So you're not going to go on a 5, 10, 15 kill streak against the best guys in the world. Often. It happens. I've seen Scump do it. I've seen Crim6 do it. I've seen Formal do it. I've seen Dashy do it. Like, they can do it. Any one of those guys could do it at some point, but it's very, very rare. When Scump plays Call of Duty casual just on his stream, he should have like a 10 KD, but he has like a 2.2 KD because he's only ever playing against guys that are in the Call of Duty League in the casual play.
And what's okay? So I can't remember if this was J God or someone else was breaking down skill-based matchmaking and what is they talked about from a dev side that how they learned it at one of the events. Basically, if Call of Duty were to have ranked mode, the skill-based matchmaking that you are ranking up in, the same ranking system that you see actively, visually on something like Apex Legends, is the same skill-based matchmaking they're using Call of Duty. So if you're a 0.3 KD player, and you're only playing against 0.3, 0.5 KD players, but you start to get better, and now you're 0.75. You don't get to keep playing in that lower level. Now you're playing against other 0.75 players. If you start to get a little bit better and you're a 1.0, now you're playing against other 1.0. So the argument and what's like the average player doesn't want to seem to listen to these top pros and streamers. What they're trying to say is you're an idiot because you're not understanding how it's affecting you too. As you get better, you always yourself have to play against the competition equal to or better than you. You will never get to play against inferior competition.
Never.
Never.
And the whole point
people
of casual play.
So basically, what this streamer, I thought it was J God, but I'm not sure what they were saying.
Yeah.
What they were saying is that you are ranking up. You are going from bronze to silver to gold to platinum to diamond to whatever. The problem is you're not getting any of that visual recognition that you're leveling up. So you are leveling up, but you will never know that you're leveling up.
Yeah.
So there's no reward.
To you, it always feels the same. Like you're going 15-9 in every single mode, but you are getting better.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is you don't have a number ranking. Like even if they just put your matchmaking number next to you. Like is it a 140
some form of recognition?
1540? Is it a 1570? Like whatever it may be,
your
whatever
elo
system that they're doing it. Yeah. Whatever system they're using to put in there. And just like chess. Think about it as chess. Chess has a skill-based matchmaking system. It's your rank in chess. If I am a 2200 player and I go up against a 1000 or 1100 player, I'm going to kick the shit out of them. Like I'm supposed to. But if that 1100 player beats the 2200 player, he's going to skyrocket himself up the rankings to go up against somebody.
He's wearing an anal butt plug vibrator thing that gives him the...
Hey, Hans, don't start there with Hans, man. Don't start with Hans. If he wants to wear anal beads and do all that kind of stuff, he's fine with doing it. His vibrators.
But
Can you believe? No, hold on, before we get into that, can you believe cheating has gotten so bad at games that chess is now under attack for anal beads?
Chess, fishing, and in that recent poker,
dude, the
Hustler
fishing
Live
one,
poker event.
Yeah, the fishing one was insane. We could have a whole nother podcast just about like cheating in games, like going over all the different ways people have figured out how to cheat in games. But I can't believe over the board. Like I get online, because that's where Hans got first hit, was he was cheating online. And then now we have all this, and you know what? Magnus Carlsen's been the top for so fucking long I'm gonna believe Magnus if he's like, something feels weird. Did you ever watch? Did you watch the breakdown video that
A
I
little
don't
bit
remember
of
her
it,
name
yeah.
is? The
A
one
little
girl
bit.
did on like how he made. So I'm sorry we're going off on this, but in chess, you have these chess supercomputers that are out there
Mm-hmm.
that analyze every single move that you could possibly make every time another move is made. And they've logged every single game that's ever been like played that has had logs in the modern era. And modern era in chess goes back to like 18 something. So when Hans played Magnus, he made 100%, or it was like 98.5%
Of the best possible move.
of the best plays that the computer would do. And they broke that down to like grandmasters, and he's not a grandmaster yet. Like he's not Magnus grandmaster style. They average in like the 65 to 70 range. And this guy played 15 matches this year, 95 and above. Over the board. That's it. That's statistically impossible unless you're the greatest chess player to ever live, which he's not. You know, and not even the greatest chess player right now is that good. So it's super interesting. And now
Listen,
Magnus
he
won't
thought he
play
was
him.
the second coming of Bobby Fischer. He was just fishing up the
but
backside.
Bobby Fischer is the only one that did it for like, and what's his name? The Russian dude, Karasperkov or whatever his name is.
I mean, listen, hey, that girl on the Netflix show was really good too.
Hey, you know what? The Queen's Gambit was a great show.
Hey, great,
Has nothing to do with real history, but a great show. If you want to watch, if you want to watch a phenomenal show, even though it's about chess, they made chess interesting.
Yeah.
Like those matches, I was like, man, this is really interesting. So anyway, but yeah, I can't believe that. And Elon dropped the post, but of course it's Elon to make the first anal bead comment.
Well, he owns Twitter. He can do what he wants.
But anyway, cheating has got out of hand, and you're always going to have the cheating aspect. And we've had many podcasts talking about that, so we're not going to get in there. But everybody out there fighting to keep skill-based matchmaking, you're hurting yourselves overall. You're not getting into lobbies that you can just wreck. Even if you're an average player like we are, every once in a while we're going to get a lobby that has a bunch of super low-skilled players in it, and we're going to wreck in it. It should happen that way.
Yeah. Now, what drives me nuts is instead of everyone just gets on there and they shit on these. There's a lot of things that I think top streamers and influencers have done that have helped the industry. And I also think sometimes it hurts the industry because I think games get caught up on trying to cater to that crowd sometimes. But in this instance alone, I wish people would just listen to what they're saying. They're saying, we want skill-based matchmaking in a ranked playlist, and we want casual quick play to be casual quick play where your lobbies are connection-based lobbies.
So one of the greatest
so just have a rank system. I don't understand.
One of the greatest,
well, the worst games on in any platform can have ranked, but Activision and Call of Duty refuses to do it.
So one of the things that I just want to point out there, and if you don't know who Snipe Down is, he's one of the top, like probably one or two Halo players. He's been for a long time. He had a quote in the Washington Post, because the Washington Post actually did an article about skill-based matchmaking on it. He had a quote in there. He said, "I'm one of the best players in the game, and I'm losing 70% of the games I'm playing. How is this possible? There is a skill-based matchmaking that's hidden inside of these games that only allows me to play against players that are at my level. If you are one of the best players in the world, you shouldn't be losing 70% of your games in casual play. You shouldn't be losing 70% of your games in ranked play. Like, that matchmaking is off. There's something wrong there. There's also hidden things that they do in the games where if you start playing above your rank, they start to make you play worse to come back down to your rank in the middle of the game. So like if you go off on a 10 kill streak and they think you shouldn't have done that, or you're playing way above your rank, dude, there are times where you should be getting some hit markers, but you're not. Your bullet should be doing things, but you're not. The skill-based matchmaking doesn't just affect each game. It affects you in the middle of the game. And sometimes you're just going off, having a good game. You shouldn't get penalized for playing well. Like I don't understand that. And if you have a ranked play, you don't get penalized for playing well. You move up in rank. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get to the highest rank you can possibly play. Why is Apex so popular right now? Because of the fucking ranked mode that it has. And everyone can understand how good they are based off of everybody else.
Don't you think if there was, sometimes it makes you wonder, you hear all these conspiracies that they let cheaters stay in the game and it boosts the game because they make more money. Don't you ever wonder one of the reasons they might not have a ranked playlist is because all the cheaters would catapult to the top of the ranking really quick and everyone could point them out really easily without some third-party software nonsense. They would just be at the top of the list.
Then ban the top of the list.
Yeah, but my point is, are they not doing it because they don't want these people to show up?
Cheaters are in Call of Duty. Cheaters are not out. So I would give you that argument in Tarkov where you have to buy the game and you're not making your money off of skins. Cheaters in Call of Duty are normally rage cheating, and that's just some guy that wants to feel better. I honestly don't believe Nadia is cheating, but let's just say it's Nadia out there. It's not people out there trying to make they're trying to either make a name for themselves as a streamer and they're not that good at the game and they want to be able to do that. And they're not entertaining. So they have to be really good at the game. If you're not entertaining, like Tim's super entertaining. He's not that great of a player. He's gotten better over the years, but he's not your top echelon player. He'll say it himself. But he's not going to be like Aiden. Like Aiden, everybody watches because of the amazing gameplay. I don't even think Aiden talks during his streams because he's so focused.
Yeah, your streams have two different types of people. Your entertainers, one of those guys, or your entertainers, or your people that are really, really good. I watch Shroud to see his ridiculousness. I watch everyone else because I think they're hilarious.
I think you already have the stats. Pull up any Call of Duty stat game and look at everybody that's 15 KD plus. I mean, I've seen guys on there that are like 100 KD that have been playing for like 3 years. Like that's impossible. It's impossible with skill-based matchmaking to have that. Impossible.
I always laugh because it's if they were that good, somebody would pick them up and they would be on their pro league.
Yeah,
their pro team.
It's just freaking terrible. And anyway, outside of that, Warzone, we'll see what happens. I personally like the changes that they've made. I think the map is going to really play into if these changes are good or not. I think your long range gunplay is going to get a lot better. I think I'm very interested to see what happens when we put on plates. Like, what do KDs look like with plates? Can we make moves? And if Warzone keeps what they have right now, or not Warzone, I'm sorry. If Modern Warfare keeps the exact gameplay that they have right now, transitions to the Warzone, you add plates and it moves the gameplay to what I think it was like hardcore mode that they had, or no, it was Iron
Trials, yeah.
And it feels like Iron Trials as the basic game. It'll be back on top. It'll be back on top of the games that we want to play.
As long as the map is good.
As long as the map is good. Yeah. And it looked great. I liked the map. I've only seen it, but it looked fantastic at the next event. So,
I mean, the problem is we got to remember within 3 months of Verdansk, everyone hated the map. Now we've seen other maps and everyone wants the map back.
Yeah, but it took 3 months to hate it.
But I think we need to understand that it's not going to be perfect. When Caldera
came out, we hated it the second day. It took 3 months to hate
I didn't
Verdansk.
like it the first time I played it.
Yeah,
I couldn't see anything. Too much green.
Day. Yeah, I had to when I had to start pinging every bush to make sure someone wasn't hiding in it. And I'm super critical on this. They have made some decent changes to fill in all that empty space. They've added stuff, but they just took assets from Verdansk and dropped it into this island.
Okay, but here's some things that they've added. The redeploy balloons. So you can zip around. They're so dumb.
It's not Apex.
I mean, yes, I think there's so
It makes sense in Apex,
but then the
because
same
of the
person is
futuristic
like,
feel.
but this needs to be a realistic. Well, did my guy go into the house and repack his parachute so I could go into that redeploy balloon and go back out and then pull my parachute 350 times off and on to get to the spot I want to go to? Like, make us get across the map.
That's why every game should be advanced warfare, and it takes away that. It's like, oh, this is advanced. I do have a parachute that can zip in and out because it's advanced warfare. We've created it. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, I do hope they get rid of the redeploy
I hate when you
balloons.
say I hate when they call these games modern warfare. I'm like, if you want this modern warfare, make it modern.
Yeah.
You have jump.
I don't mind when they added the subway system, and I don't mind the different tunnel systems.
So I didn't like the subway system with the first bug where you could go into the gas.
Okay, that was but I just mean as far as getting from one end of the map to the other very quickly, make it somewhat realistic. I don't want people jumping into a balloon and taking off and going somewhere else.
No. But that works in Apex because it's the futuristic game.
Correct.
Like, it's supposed to be that. They built an arena around this kind of gameplay in Apex to do that. But yeah, don't just steal. Like, all they did was steal the other games, and they're like, everyone, oh, I love this in Apex. Oh, great, let's make our own redeploy balloon. Like, that's dumb. That doesn't fit your gameplay.
I didn't see it in the beta. I didn't see them in the beta, so I hope.
No, I don't. I'm not a fan of the fact that you're not calling in like your loadouts the same. You still can buy your loadouts. I think the one thing I didn't like in the beginning, and I hope they change, was I think controller players are going to have a disadvantage to looting because it doesn't drop on the floor and you have to go through the menu. But I feel like there was a setting you could change.
There was a setting you could change. They figured that out while they were at the event. I can't remember which streamer showed it, but yes, you could go into your basic settings and it spills the loot out the same.
So yeah, I think there's going to be some changes there, but overall, I'm optimistic for Warzone. I think Call of Duty right now is in a good place with Modern Warfare 2. There is tuning that they have to do, but you got to get that out there on the mass and the masses. Let people level up the guns, understand. And that's
why technically season 1 doesn't start for a month. This is essentially a paid beta.
all the devs are just waiting for JGod, or it's not even JGod. It's who built the site that JGod uses? It's Iron. I think Iron did. So JGod uses one of them, but they're just waiting for JGod to do all the analysis so they don't have to, and then they can go ahead and balance the weapons, balance the guns. But you're gonna get a meta. You're gonna have things that some people do. I think they did deaden the footsteps a little bit. It wasn't as blaring and as noticeable. I don't like the invasion mode. You're not a ground war game. You're not good at it. It's fun for.
Have you played Invasion where you have a bunch of AI?
Played it. Yeah, I played it. It's
I haven't played it yet.
It's okay. It's just I don't know. Call of Duty is not Battlefield. Like, and it's just like, here's our Battlefield mode. And it almost feels like at the end of the day, we're gonna get, here's the Battlefield mode in Invasion. Here's the DMZ mode, so you can go over here and play Tarkov.
No, I am. Listen, hold on. Slow your roll there, because you got to think of console players. Okay, so console players can't play something like Tarkov. I'm very excited about DMZ. Like I said, if they can do to DMZ what they did, they turned PUBG into Battle Royale, I think it's a win-win.
This has nothing
to
do with if you can play it or not, because the game's not there. This is, I have this style of gameplay that I'm going to put, and it's a Tarkov style. So if you want to play looter shooters, I have it. If you want to play ground war based games like Battlefield, I have it. If you want to play multiplayer games, I have it.
So you think they're just spreading too thin?
Yeah, I think like there's too much here. It's not. Call of Duty used to just be your multiplayer game, and they were fantastic at it. Once they added Warzone, the multiplayer isn't that great. It hasn't been that great since Warzone came out. Warzone's always been okay. It was phenomenal. Then it went and then it was okay. Like, I can deal with this. Being a fanboy and being, just the normal me and spoiled brat all the time. Like, I boycotted it because I was done with it. But I can go back and play it. It's not the worst game out there. It's really not. So at the end of the day, unless you have very dedicated teams that are super integrated with each other to build all of these game modes, one game mode's going to fall. One game mode's going to suck and no one's going to play it. So just focus on the two you want to have. Do you want to be a looter shooter thing? Let's focus on that. Do you want to be a battle royale game? Focus on that. Stop trying to do so much. Apex is just battle royale. Fortnite is just battle royale. Focus on what you're good at and do it the best. Call of Duty hasn't done that. They've been spread too thin and they're not the best at anything. They're just good at a lot of things. And that may sell a lot of skins. And that, again, that's what they're in for. But Fortnite sells even more skins. And they have the best battle royale out there right now. All right. I think we've gone on enough. We're at the hour mark.
Enough ranting.
This is our first take. Neither one of us has a lot of time in the game. We will revisit this probably a month or two from now when we actually have some good time into the game. We'll tell you what it is. I'm sure there'll be some updates that come out between there. My name's Ender. That's James the Third. We are two dudes that tried a game. I just have to say that because we don't get a lot of it. We are two dudes that game. You can find us at lastchoicenetwork.com, where you can subscribe to any of the other podcasts that we have. If you're into TV, like we are, and some of the top TV shows right now, we just finished House of the Dragon, and we're going to be doing a recap show on that here pretty shortly, probably this week. And we are now doing The Winchesters, which is a prequel to the Supernatural podcast. I have watched all of Supernatural. James has not watched any of Supernatural, so it's a good juxtaposition between the two of us as we go through the prequel. I'm going to be giving you more in-depth lore on what's different, where it's going to be. James is going to give you that perspective of a new watcher, and do I understand this show without having seen any of the other stuff? Like, do I really have to watch Supernatural to enjoy this show, the CW? And we may be having a couple more shows that we're going to add down the road because we just finished there. The House of Dragon just ended, so we'll be trying to add some new shows that are coming out into it, and we'll see from there. Again, lastchoicenetwork.com for all of our podcasts. My name's Ender. That's James the Third. Take it easy. Good night.